Hey X-Hamster community, it's your boy, Boogie2969, coming at you live from the far left autistic spectrum. Today, we're going to be talking about something very important. The weather. No, we're going to be talking about homelessness. By the way, first video, so face reveal, physique reveal, autism reveal, whole 9 yards. Very cool, very cool. So, onto the topic. Homelessness. There's plenty of ways to get there, only one way to arrive. You arrive by crashing through the ceiling. That's how it is. You crash through the ceiling. You're homeless. You're not going to pirouette into the situation. You're not going to pirouette through the situation. Regardless of how you got into the situation, the only way to arrive at the function is to crash through the ceiling. Hit the floor pretty hard generally. Sputter out and end up dead in a ditch. Now we're going to hopefully avoid the landing on your face, sputtering out, and falling into a ditch part. That's for everyone else, not for you. You're built different. So, how do we prevent this? By not getting caught fucking around. And what I mostly allude to is getting involved with other people. Getting involved with other homeless people that have been out there for much too long. People I would consider lifers. People that aren't looking to get out of the situation, don't expect to get out of the situation, probably never will. They're for the streets. Now, are they made for the streets? Doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means that the streets got into them, took them too far, too long. That's what you really want to avoid, is being there for too long. Like I said, it's not going to be a hop and a skip. It's going to be a stint. Mine was about 1.5 years. I'm looking at going back out. Actually, I'm going to be a street rat again here in just a number of days, which prompts my thinking on, man, if I was to do this again, what would I tell others? How would I set this up for myself, and can I transfer that information in a way that might help someone, or might just be entertaining? So, people will lead you down some silly places because they may be lifers and it may be all they know. And they're not necessarily concerned about you as an individual because they've seen 1 million of you. People who came to the streets, crashed in, had good intentions, had decent prospects other than their circumstance. And everyone out there, everyone you see now, has seen just a cavalcade of this type of individual get lost along the way. It's usually through drugs and illegal activity, which gets you a record, or you lose your ID, or your social, or your birth certificate, which is hell to get back. And for most people, they won't get it back. The way the Social Security office runs is a nightmare. Even a housed person understands that these applications, the paperwork, the proof involved is ridiculous. So imagine going through that without a paper trail, without family, without friends, without anybody who remembered you from your previous life being able to vouch for your identity, and you have no paper record of it. That's going to stop you from getting your gym membership. That's going to stop you from getting your self-storage. That's going to keep you out of shelters. It's going to keep you out of housing, which, by the way, if you're a white male, you won't get any of that to begin with. You might get the shelter. You will not get housing subsidy. You will not get financial subsidy. You might squeak by food stamps. You might. That's not a guarantee. Don't count on it even. You can apply. Maybe you should apply. I personally didn't apply. I'd heard too many stories, and I knew myself from the past trying to get food stamps, um, even as a married individual with a dependent. It was not working. It was not working even from a place of stability. So you don't have those structures to support you, but what you will have are charities and NGOs. So, charities and NGOs. These are mostly going to take form and place at churches. You're going to get your 3 square meals at the churches, and you could get quite fat off that. Yeah, you could be eating real good. If you just go from church to church to church within about an hour interval, so you catch the meal time for like 3 or 4 different locations, you can get hella fat, trust me, but that's not what you're trying to do. You're just trying to feed yourself. Do not spend any of your money on foodstuffs. Maybe drink, because that's not as abundant from the NGOs in their vans in the churches. Don't buy food. You're wasting your money. You're not going... You will need money. I was going to say you're not going to need money that much, but you will need money. But it's not going to be your primary resource. Not at the start, not at the middle, more towards the end. At the start and in the middle of your term, your biggest resources are going to be time and energy, physical energy, actual spatial time. Because you're going to come to find that chores are very difficult when you're homeless. When you have a car, you have a house, you don't realize that dishes take, it's easy to do dishes, it's easy to do laundry, it's easy to fold your clothes, it's easy to put your clothes away, it's easy to shower, you do it all under the same roof. That's not what it's like to be homeless. When you're homeless, these are like 7 different roofs, and they're on like 7 different blocks. I would encourage you to have a mind and the intent to get yourself a bike, because you're going to be hoofing it, and you're going to be riding a bike quite a lot, and it's going to save you on your energy and time investment phenomenally. Now, if you land down in a city where they have functional public transit, robust public transit, you may be able to do that. Again, it's going to cost a little bit of money, really not that much. You're already looking at a gym membership, you're already looking at self-storage, about $60 a month, plus your bus fare if you're going to go that route. Maybe you're looking at $80 a month. Can you wing that with a part-time job, a sort of low to immediate commitment, probably low commitment part-time job? Yes. And you're going to save the rest of your money. And like I said, with that ID and birth certificate, you were so fucked without them. You keep those and you keep copies. You make copies. Make that a priority. There are NGOs. You can go to a church where they'll maybe give you clothes and stuff, and they might have caseworkers. Those caseworkers, those are you're going to go to. You're going to get duplicates of all your information if you still have it. If you're going into the situation without ID and shit, well, that's tough, buddy. That's tough. You might be a lifer. I'm sorry. If you already have that stuff, make copies. Make copies when you crash land, as soon as you can. Until then, front pocket, or even just shove it up your ass, because you need those documents. And if anyone tries to take those documents from you, you fight them. You fight them to the death, because it is that serious. Now, as far as socializing, you may want to socialize. You may feel lonely. You may feel, frankly, bored. You may feel outcast. People are looking at you like a dog, because you kind of are a dog. You're on the streets doing everything a dog would do. Anytime you go into a business, you're a nuisance. You're trying to steal this or that. Offer someone a blowy under the table, and they can't stop you. People are going to look at you like you're a burden. So naturally, you're going to want to click up with somebody. Well, you should curb that impulse, because homeless camps are not good places to click up with people. These are mostly felons who can't get into shelters because they either don't have IDs, or their felonies are violent or sexual in nature, or they're on the run from justice, they're fugitives of justice, and they can't present to these places because their name will alert the authorities. So what you're left with are just the real dregs of society. And those little encampments is where you're going to find them. I would encourage you to avoid those little encampments, because the wrong person, even a well-meaning one, can lead you down a path to violence or addiction. And if you're wet behind the ears and don't know nothing about violence and addiction, they both creep up very quickly. You could have a fun few days on some crystal meth, and then 2 weeks later come to realize that you are badly addicted to the substance that you barely understand, that you've barely even fucked with. And now you're willing to suck some dick for that shit. It can just be the wrong person. Associating with the wrong people can turn your little vacation into a life sentence. So, what do? How do we stop ourselves from face planting? We get that gym membership. I'm going to name drop it. Planet Fitness. It's the cheapest around, the easiest to get into. They also have franchises almost everywhere, so if you have to relocate, which you may, you will always have access to that franchise gym. That's going to be where you change clothes, brush your teeth, wash your face, shower. You can take full showers in there. A lot of people do it. I encourage it. Not a bad place to catch a shower. And you can get good internet there too if you're not able to maintain a phone bill for whatever reason. Now, I will say, do not go in there loud. Do not crash into the Planet Fitness looking like a bum. Do not go in there wearing blue jeans with mud over the hems, boots, 3 grocery bags and a backpack. Open up your laptop and start playing RuneScape at the table. If you want to play RuneScape at the table, come without the grocery bags, come without the backpack, wear a tank top and some athletic shorts, and you will be left alone. If you do the prior, you will be kicked out, and because it's a franchise, you'll probably be kicked out of all of them, so there goes your pivot point. One of your pivot points. Your second pivot point is going to be self-storage. Remember I talked about earlier, we're looking at a budget of maybe $80 a month. Can you wing it? Yeah, you most likely can. That's your gym membership, that's your self-storage, that's maybe your phone bill and your public transit. Maybe you're looking at 100. You get the self-storage because really the only way to gain momentum is to gain things and be able to keep your things. Trust me, as much of a MacGyver as you may think yourself, your hiding spots will all fail. Something that rural folk don't realize about the city, or even city folk that don't go outside don't realize about the city, is that the foot traffic goes everywhere. Every inch, every blade of grass is touched by somebody's shoe at some point. No matter where you hide your shit, it will be found. It will be found by municipal authorities, municipal workers, police officers. It'll be found by other homeless people just as fucking ratty as you are, and they're gonna take your shit without thinking. In fact, they might be excited to catch a glimpse of the dumbass who they just took it from. So you get self-storage, so that you can keep your things clean, so that you can get your, you can have a bug-out backpack in there, you can have a backpack for other purposes in there, a gym bag, all kinds of change of clothes, a bike. I encourage you to get a bike. Like I said, time and energy is your most valuable resource at the start and intermediate phase of transitioning. Of crashing in and transitioning out of this phase. So you want to be able to keep the things you gain, so you're not just constantly being reset over and over and over. Again, that's one of those big things that's going to separate you from a lifer, is that your shit doesn't get reset every week. You're able to build. You're able to build towards something. And that is what I recommend doing. Be very careful about who you buddy up with, who you associate with, because even other people who are well-meaning and just as wet behind the ears as you are, well, their well-meaningness, their naivety might make for good conversation. It does not make for a good partner, because it means that they are just as susceptible to level 1 bullshit as you are, and they will lead you into level 1 bullshit that turns you into a lifer if you let them. The truth is, out there, everyone is basically a dumbass, and if you think someone's got it figured out and they're going to carry you with their tact and knowledge of the streets, while you can tell that they're on drugs, well, you're a fool, because they're not going to lead you anywhere but face down. So be careful about your associations. Be careful how you spend your energy and how you spend your time. Set yourself up right and set yourself up quickly. Whatever money you might have, if you have none, make some real quick. But if you have a little, gym membership, self-storage. Work it from there. Do not get involved with these people. Do not get involved with these camps. Do not start the meth. Do not start the heroin. For the love of God, do not start the heroin.